My husband has been secretly paying his ex-wife's mortgage for 3 years, on a house I've never even seen. I need to preface this by saying my husband, we'll call him Mark, has always been the responsible one in our marriage. He handles our budget, pays the bills, tracks every expense in a spreadsheet. I trusted that completely, which honestly is probably how this went unnoticed for so long. Mark was married before me, briefly, in his 20s, to a woman named Diane. They split amicably, no kids, no house together as far as I ever knew. He's mentioned her maybe 5 times total in the 8 years we've been together. I never had a reason to think about her at all. Last month our bank flagged some unusual activity while I was reviewing our joint statements for taxes. A recurring monthly transfer, same amount, same date, every single month, going out to an account I didn't recognize. I asked Mark about it, expecting some boring explanation, a subscription, a forgotten bill, something normal. He got quiet. Then he told me it was Diane's mortgage payment. I asked him to explain, because nothing about that sentence made sense to me. He said that when they divorced, he'd agreed to help her with the house, temporarily, until she got back on her feet financially. That temporary arrangement started 6 years ago. He has been paying her mortgage, in full, for the last 3 years specifically, which is the entire back half of our marriage, without ever once mentioning it to me. I asked him how much money we're talking about. Over 3 years, at the amount showing on our statements, it comes out to just under $40,000. $40,000 of our joint money, going toward a house I have never seen a single photo of, owned by a woman I've met maybe twice, without my knowledge or consent, the entire time we've been married. Mark's explanation was that he didn't want to worry me, and that he planned to stop, eventually, once Diane was more stable. I asked him what stable even meant, since apparently 3 years wasn't enough time to hit whatever invisible finish line he had in mind. I am still living in the same house as him right now, and I genuinely don't know how to look at him the same way. This isn't a small secret. This is nearly a decade of an ongoing financial relationship with his ex-wife that he actively hid from me, using money that was supposed to be ours. I haven't told my family yet. I haven't decided what I'm doing next. I just keep replaying every joint financial conversation we've ever had, wondering what else got left out. So tell me, is there any version of this that isn't a deal breaker, or does secretly funding your ex-wife's mortgage for 3 years inside your current marriage end the conversation immediately? Follow for the update, because I just found Diane's number and I'm considering calling her myself. My father-in-law blew up our family by sleeping with my sister, his DIL. I was excited to start a relationship with my husband because our families were so close. His older brother was dating my older sister for a year at that point. Our parents were best friends. We all got together often for fires, drinks, and playing music. My father-in-law, brother-in-law, husband, and I all play guitar and sing, so all felt right. Early on, I noticed weird things about the way my sister was treated in the family versus myself. When my brother-in-law would mistreat my sister, my father-in-law would step in and give him a good verbal lashing. When my husband would do worse to me, crickets. Then I noticed my sister was being invited to get family tattoo sessions with my father-in-law, mother-in-law, and both my parents. My husband and I were not invited. They would host big family BBQs where my husband and I are not invited. When we would go, my father-in-law would offer everyone drinks except for me. Blatantly disrespectful. They would say it's because my husband and I fought sometimes. But hey, so does everyone else. People get in full-blown fist fights at their property and are still invited back out, so I was genuinely confused. When everyone's drinking and carrying on, of course, there will be drama from time to time, and we are far from the only people who cause it. This group is one of those. Whenever someone leaves the room, they become the topic of conversation. When my husband and I had a temporary split, my in-laws came out to my husband about how much they've always hated me. Well, that backfired because when we got back together, he filled me in to say I was not surprised, LOL. When we had our children, it was the same. The in-laws never reached out, not even once, to wish the kids a happy birthday or asked to visit, etc. For Christmas and birthdays, they went above and beyond for my sister and her 2 kids. I always made sure to invite them and do something for them, believing I could change their minds about me and our children. While my sister ended up moving onto my in-laws' property in a trailer with her 2 teenage kids before her and brother-in-law split. They had been together 7 to 8 years. She was talking to other men behind his back and one day just ghosted him and acted like they weren't together anymore without a word. His last message was asking about going Christmas shopping for the kids before being ghosted. My sister then went on a smear campaign about how she won't be able to give her kids a Christmas this year because he left right before Christmas. Weird. This is where it gets wild. At Christmas dinner, my father-in-law shut everything down very quickly. I guess my brother-in-law had a talk with him about how he feels like he can't visit because his ex-girlfriend is always there and it's painful for him. He doesn't understand why she's continuing to live there. Father-in-law says, "She's family. I can't make 2 kids homeless." This is where I learned why my father-in-law was so partial to my sister. Boxing Day, my mother-in-law walked in on my father-in-law and sister with her pants around her ankles. My sister, her kids, and their 3 cats were kicked out immediately and now homeless. We told my brother-in-law right away, and he collapsed sobbing. It was heartbreaking to see. Over a year has passed, and my brother-in-law is having a baby with his new GF, who seems to be very good for him. I don't know how to post updates. I'm new to posting on here, but there is a lot more to this story. My sister moved across the continent to be with a man who faked his own death to avoid telling her he lives with his wife and kids. That's a whole other story. Also, a lot more drama happened with my in-laws after this. I'm considering posting these stories, but I'll see what people think of this first. Thanks for reading. I feel so much better being able to share this story considering there isn't many people I can share it with without causing drama. Management saved $50 a month by wasting $20,000 of my time. I work as a senior dev for a company that loves to talk about lean operations, which is just corporate speak for being cheap as hell. A few months ago, we needed a specific tool to handle some complex data extraction and PDF parsing for a major client. I found a rock-solid SaaS platform that cost exactly $50 a month for a team subscription. It had a perfect API and would have taken me maybe an hour to set up the whole pipeline. I sent the request to my manager thinking it was a total no-brainer. He called me into a meeting and gave me a long lecture about how we shouldn't be relying on third-party subscriptions for core business logic. He literally told me that paying for a monthly subscription when you have high-priced engineers on the payroll is just lazy. I tried to explain that reinventing this specific wheel would be a massive waste of resources, but he wouldn't budge. He gave me a direct order to stop looking at external vendors and build our own proprietary parser from scratch. He wanted it to be a company asset that we could own forever. I realized there was no point in arguing, so I decided to follow his instructions to the letter. I stopped all work on the actual client features and started deep diving into the nightmare that is the PDF file structure. If you have ever worked with raw PDF data, you know it is a hellscape of inconsistent encodings and binary junk. I spent the next 3 months in a dark room fighting with coordinate systems and bit streams. Every week at the stand-up meeting, my manager would ask for an update, and I would tell him that building world-class tech takes time and precision. He would just nod and talk about how much money we were saving by not paying that monthly fee. My salary is well into the 6 figures, so every week I spent on this project was costing the company roughly $4,000 in billing hours. By the time I had a semi-functional version that didn't crash on every second file, we were 12 weeks into the savings plan. The final math is just ridiculous. I spent nearly 500 hours on this proprietary tool. At my internal rate, that is $20,000 of engineering time. All of this to avoid a $50 monthly bill. The best part is that my version is nowhere near as good as the original service I found. It is buggy, and it only handles the specific layouts we are using right now. If the client updates their report format next month, I will have to spend another 2 weeks fixing my code. My manager, however, is thrilled. He actually presented the tool to the directors as a strategic innovation that we developed in-house. I saw the quarterly budget report recently, and our department is way over on labor costs, while our project delivery is lagging behind. My manager is currently scrambling to figure out why productivity dropped so much in the last quarter. I just sent him a status update for the new feature list and told him I would get started on them as soon as I finished the next round of bug fixes for our parser. I guess that is just the price of having an in-house asset instead of a $50 subscription. Anyway, I have a bug report to ignore for at least 3 hours while I drink my coffee. Charged by barefoot college girl in Ogden, Utah. Weirdest encounter I've ever had in my life a few hours ago. It's about 11 p.m. I'm staying in the Hampton Inn in Ogden, Utah for work. I'm restless and decide to take a brisk walk with headphones and some loud music to clear my head before getting some sleep. Everything is normal until I turn a corner around the hotel building. About 20 feet away from me is a roughly college-aged woman wearing a tank top, short jean shorts, and no socks or shoes, facing away from me. She is swaying lightly and tugging her shorts up aggressively, generally acting strange and unstable. At this time, I assume the lady is either drugged out hard or is incredibly drunk. I decide I don't want to engage and turn around slowly to walk the other way. She had her back to me the whole time. After I take a step or two, I feel uneasy having my back to her, especially in my deafened state with headphones. I cut the music and pull an earbud out and continue walking away. Maybe 4 to 5 seconds later, I hear her breathing heavily very near me like some kind of animal and whispering, hissing, something unintelligible. She is within 2 feet of me at this point. Her bare feet were basically silent on the pavement and allowed her to sprint right up to me without me noticing. She must have really booked it too. She would have had to clear 15 to 20 feet in that time. Reasonably startled, I square up to her, put my hands up with palms facing outward, and exclaim, "Jesus Christ." I must have glanced at her bare feet at this time, because she responds, "Oh, what? Did you see my feet? Did they scare you that bad? Pussy." She seems genuinely puzzled by my reaction, but was very clearly in some kind of manic state. I quickly walk away, and she continues to shout things at me about her feet, me being a pussy, and other unintelligible nonsense. What really struck me as the most odd is that she was totally alone. No crowd of other drunk college kids, no friends, nothing. I expect weird behavior like this from packs of kids, but not a lone young woman. I did a welfare call with the police because I was concerned about how her little routine might go with someone else on the street tonight. Hopefully she got some help if she needed it. Any ideas what the hell that was about? I'm familiar with drug behavior. I've spent extensive time with regular meth users, one of whom had a full psychosis event, so not light users either. This lady was some kind of bath salt zombie or something. For the parents who have tall kids. So I am tall. No surprise my both kids are showing that they are following the same path. When I was young, I've struggled to live my age because everyone looked at me like I shouldn't be doing this or that because I look older. For instance, I remember my mom having to explain several times that I was allowed in this or that play area because people would try to stop me from going, especially those kind of parks where things get an age restriction. I know times are different now, and most likely people won't be that into others' business. Hope so. But I am thinking ahead here even for myself. My daughter is 2.5 and already wears clothing for 5 years old. My son is 1, but is also tall for his age. I've heard already some comments like, "You are big now, you can't do that," to which I stopped straight away and reminded whoever was saying it of her age. I already fought myself to not say stuff like this to her, because I know how it hurts to be judged by your appearance. So Reddit, help me out here. What ways you found to keep your kids living their age and stop people from being funny about your tall babies? Any experience appreciated. Here we go again. Wife and a EA. English is not my first language, sorry in advance. 5 years ago, I discovered my wife was having an emotional affair which lasted a few months with a friend we both had. She argued that they had just become very close friends, but they had nicknames for them and were constantly texting, from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., nonstop. Back then I told her that I knew he is a womanizer, and that, even though I trusted her, I didn't trust him. I left her the choice to do what she thought was best, but warned that if the situation worsened, I would ask for a divorce. She stopped talking to him. Now we live in another country. Family was thriving, and a few months ago, she told me she was very happy in this new country. She was thriving in his job, and her social circle has expanded considerably through the school of the kids, her job, and her soccer team. Everything started being weird in May, but I couldn't connect the dots until a week ago. I travel a lot for work, and May was particularly heavy. We had planned a night out to a concert together, as we rarely do nights out, because family and work keep us busy. The night before, I texted her to see if she was available for a video call, and she answered 4 hours later only a dry yes. I was sleeping by then. It seemed weird, but didn't pay attention to it that much. Next day I land. She picks me up at the airport, and we go to the concert. In the concert, I feel she is different. Couldn't tell what was happening, but something was off. Fast forward to a week ago. I go to look for her, and she's putting our kid to bed. She's sitting on the bed reading on her phone. When I entered the room and asked her if she would join back our dinner, we had family over. I could see how scared she was. She put the phone against her and later turned off the screen. I later asked why she reacted that way, and she said it was all in my head. Next day, her phone is asking for a code to unlock after restarting, and she wouldn't type it in front of me. We both knew each other's code, but don't really go around checking the other's phone. That night, I presented the facts regarding her phone and asked her if she had something to hide, and she came clean, or partially. She has been talking romantically with a girl from her soccer team. She revealed that after a back and forth between us, because she didn't want to reveal who it was out of fear that she would have to sacrifice her freedom and I would start watching every move she makes. She said nothing physical has happened yet, and when pressed even further, she asked if I would be okay with an open marriage. I told her that it was very convenient from her side to ask exactly the moment she has someone to open the marriage with. She says she wants to save our marriage, but won't commit to stop seeing her because she is a good friend, and that argues I am trying to control her. She also says that it would only be a fling and nothing serious because neither of them are looking for anything serious. She is willing to go to couples therapy, but continuing talking to her AP committing not to turn physical. I asked her for 2 weeks with no contact with her to see if we figure something out, and she agreed. She has not texted her for 4 days so far, but saw her today at soccer practice. During a conversation we had today, she said a divorce is on the table for her now, but she has to stop, think it through, and make a decision. I asked her to extend the no-contact period as I have to travel for work, but in turn she has offered to commit to nothing physical, but going back to texting. I also found out she lied about how long this has been going on for. It seems like they have been texting for 3 months. She says it all started as a friendly chat, but it later became more intimate until it was fully romantic. Some physical contacts and kisses on the chick have happened according to her. Also, it turns out the other girl said, "I love you," when she told her about the no-contact period. She has refused any advance from my side to actually do something to save the marriage. I fully believed what she told me at first, but I am now tired and drained. I just want this to end and begin the separation process. It hurts a lot, and she is dropping this bomb in a moment where it's not going well at work, and we have had some sad news from both sides of the family.